Well, the idea was to turn the camera on and show you the progress on the trailer, but I guess we're going to go start this with we'll start this video with a bang for all those that think nothing ever goes wrong for me. How's that? I went to go answer the phone. I was getting ready to go weld up some metal up on the bench up there, and then we have a $3,000 train wreck. I don't think anything's damaged, but doesn't make you happy. Just throw those anywhere. I think there's brakes on the wheels. Two of the wheels have brakes on them, but I have a feeling they didn't hold and they kind of slid down. It fell into the track and tipped over when I wasn't looking. So, my bad. All right, let me get this cleaned up and we'll get back to show and tell. All right, so it's time to wrap it up for me tonight. So I better grab the camera. Welding cart survived, no issues. Just got to make sure something stays under the back of it. What there is the end of the trail has got that little bit of a ramp to it, and there's two brake wheels on it, one in the front, one in the back, and they're across from each other. I had the brakes on it, but I think when I stepped off the trail I turned around. The one in the front, because it was so unloaded, it really wasn't doing anything. All the weight was on the other wheel, and it rolled around and went in the ditch. All is well, no problem. So, building, Bob the Builder. I even forgot where I left off. I think the last thing we had was just this cabinet was built and the compressor in it. So I've been working on this side, trying to figure out where everything's going and put all the bits and pieces in. The generator is off its stand. The gas tank still needs to get changed and whatnot, but I figure I'll leave it on there for now until I do get the gas tank squared away. I'm going to use probably a set of boat fuel tanks, like 2 5 or 6 gallon tanks with a quick disconnect. Looks good. Of course, another door went in there, and what we have is a 12-inch venting stack is coming up through the floor. That's where I'm going to suck the cold air from. It's got to get lifted about 2 inches. But it's the same diameter as the fan. I'll probably put some rubber around the edge there. But that's going to be under vacuum anyway. It's going to be sucking in on that side. So it'll suck fresh air in from the underneath. Should be the coolest air coming in too. And then it's going to deposit air right where you guys are. And then again, it's going to draw air, I think, in through those vents and out through the front. So I have another grate that has to go in the wall on that side right there, like we did on the other side, another 16 by 16 vent, and all the spent air or warm air should exit out of that. And again, if I have to modify as I go along, I will, as far as if it gets too hot or what the issues are. But we're going to go with that setup, see how that works out, and then if I need to, I can cut more holes. And if I have to, put a fan in the wall to suck stuff out. But that area has to get sealed off pretty good, because whatever air is going to be coming in and getting exited, it's either going to want to get forced out of there, but if there's a bunch of holes and cracks around it, it's going to come out of those still too. And don't forget the exhaust is going to be running in there. Anyway, the cabinet, let's go down the cabinet. This is all that gym equipment set that was kind of around, and I cut them and stitched them together and made longer pieces, because the metal underneath is 10 feet long. And then legs going down, some bracing, and then I cut up the last I had of the doors, and I had to go stitch one of those together too. So you see the bathroom wall, and then this is the fat section of wall the other door was hanging on. It still needs a frame going across the bottom yet to tie it together. And then there's some framework going around. And right there's a bolt still needs to get installed. It was raining when I was doing this, so I wasn't going out and climbing underneath it. But it needs to get bolted in a couple of places yet. Added that piece of stainless, became the wall in between. I have a bunch of those sheets, so I figure I use them up. And I'm probably going to do another one on this side. Same thing, I'll sandwich it and maybe put some insulation or something in between to kind of help noise. And battery supply, the inverter setup. So it's got 2 batteries. They're about 80 pounds a piece. You see the ratings on there if you care. They are deep cycle batteries that were taken, I got from the salvage place, that the company has to change them out every 2 years, whether they're good or not. So they still have plenty of life left in them, just not for the purpose that they intended to. So I got them with some shelves, which is more left over of that bathroom stall material, and strapped in. I got some hose clamp guys welded on there. I can still remove them, but they're nice and strong as far as the hold down strap. And then a bunch of heavy cable. Tie them together. I was trying to find a socket that you can fill with solder and sink the wires in. Didn't have them at Home Depot, so I went with those. But that's a lot of overkill. They're pretty heavy setup for what the inverter's going to draw. It's the back side of the switch. Drill through it. Put one of those marine switches in there, and you can select either battery or both batteries, or kill it all together. So if you want to leave the trailer and you don't want anything electrified while it's stored, I could just put it to off. There's the other one down below. I'll turn the inverter on in a minute, and then I figured where the molding was be a good place for a chase to run the wiring through for the couple of power switches strips. So there's one on this wall, and this is just going to be inverter powered, or inverter power, and then I'm going to have another strip that's going to sit right above it, and that's going to be AC power, whether I'm plugged in to where I'm parked, or it'll be off the generator, and I could just whatever power tool I want. If I want, I could just swap from one to the other. I was going to get fancy. I was going to make like isolators and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, really? That's a lot of crap to try to come up with just for the fact of not wanting to plug into something else. So, and there's another one going up, over, and it cobbles together right here and continues on, and is the strip on the other side. So both of those are again set up for inverter, and then there'll be one above it for main power. I was going to use somewhere, what did I do with it? I think it's in the garage. A marine panel for all the switches and everything, but I'm not going to have that much stuff, not as much as I thought I would. So I figured it would be more trouble than it's worth. I could just put the switches where the actual item is, instead of trying to run everything over to one central panel. Like if I wanted to run this, say on the end over there, that's just a lot of stuff to go run real heavy. So the counter will be right over the top of this. There'll be a bung for the tooling to get changed into, protecting it. So, and it's recessed, so you can't really hit it. That's in a good spot because the counter comes out not much further yet. And I just took a big hole saw, cut right through it, and put the edge molding, like door edge molding for a car, and on the end of it, it's got glue on the inside of it. They heat it up with a hairdryer, and I push that sucker on there so it doesn't get you. What else? Oh, let's go turn the power on. So we'll go for both. And the inverter powers up. It's got its own switch, but so that's on. And it can tell you got a selector on there. It can be voltage or watts. Right now we're not drawing anything, so it's not showing anything. And showing the batteries at 12.9. And you pretty much just plug whatever you want into it. You can run all your AC stuff, and if you switch it over, you can see how much each one's going to draw. So that draws 120. That used to spike when it first came up. That's good for 3,000, and I think a spike of 4. We got one on the other side. We got something plugged in. We got the hole saw plugged in, and guess. Should we go for it? Should we try the compressor? I haven't tried it yet. I'm gonna stop you and start you because you're gonna kick out on me. Alright. See if this thing's even ready to run. Might just kick it right out. Ah, kicked out. Or am I all the way up with air? Nope, kicked out. Yeah, I see the inverters. The inverter's tripping out. I didn't think I'd be able to run that, but figured I'd give it a shot. Might have over-temped it too. Watch, I cooked it. Might have to cool down. Yeah, we're good. So I still have to make an area for the 2 gas tanks, probably over in this side of it somewhere, and I kind of want them all walled off. Ideally, I'm thinking I may in the future put a gas tank underneath, like a pickup truck would have, right underneath, so it's not in the same airspace at all, and then it just vents to the outside. But we'll see. More of them still need to be drilled and bolted down yet. Legs aren't bolted down yet. And then I got one more door left. It is gonna have to get ripped down for that spot. That spot's about 3.5 feet, where the doors are 5. I was thinking about doing 2 doors that opened like this, and I still might do that instead of having it flip up, because that's probably the one I'm going to access the most. These are the 2, you know, the only time you're going to really access them if you need to change the oil. Or the compressor, you need to bleed the air out of the water out of the tanks. I like the height of the benches being too different. Depends on what you're working on. So I close that guy in. I'm liking it. I like the countertops. I haven't talked about that, I guess. They fit really well. They're slid, you know, out of the way, so you have access to the build area. And then when I'm done, I'll suck them back in to the location. All this still needs to be tied up and everything, but I want to run all the wires before I do that. And the next is probably going to be working on the generator side of it. I'm going to finish doing the venting, and then I'm going to start running the wires for the other 2 power strips, and figure out how I want to tie everything together. That's it, guys. Figured I'd just give you a little update where it is. Sometimes it's kind of hard to make a video start and stop. You end up stopping instead of continuing to go. Wasn't sure how I was going to space it. At first I was going to put the inverter on the top because it needed to be able to slide back far enough, and it ended up knocking it to the middle location because I wanted to access those switches on it, where up top there you'd be up in a cavity. You wouldn't really be able to, you'd have to try to climb underneath and look up to get to it, where this one's more comfortable. So that's it. I will shut you down. Again, thanks everybody for watching, commenting, subscribing, and it's getting there.